It's so easy to tell ourselves that we are the cause or the blame for the things that have happened to us, especially when we have experienced trauma in our childhood, because children are inherently egotistical. It's just the way that their psyche is structured and the way that they need to be. So when things happen to or around them, their automatic belief is that it's their fault in some way, whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing. And when we don't have caregivers that validate our experience and assure us that it isn't our fault, then we can like really, really deeply internalize that story and those beliefs. So it's important when we get older and start to, unpack and process our trauma, to definitely, extend ourselves some self-compassion and to understand that it wasn't our fault, in many, if not most, of those circumstances, and to really allow the accountability to be where it's supposed to be. Something that has helped me a lot in doing this is imagining another child in my shoes, because it can be really difficult sometimes to have self-compassion for ourselves depending on where we are in our relationship with ourselves. But imagining like that you had a child and your child was going through that and that happened to them, or imagining a child, I mean, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't really feel good to imagine an actual person going through the things that you had gone through. But I think, an imaginary child of yours going through that same experience and seeing how that might change your perspective on what happened. And if you're able to see that it wasn't that imaginary child's fault, and you're able to see where the accountability actually is, and you're able to have, care and compassion for that imaginary child in that circumstance, then it can be, a lot easier to kind of give that to yourself and your own, inner child. This was something that I really had to do in terms of the sexual abuse that I experienced. Some of it was really clear and overt, and other experiences were I had a lot of, reasoning and excuses, and, just a lot of like invalidating that I had, or self-blame that I had around it. And imagining a daughter of mine going through that same thing, it was so clear. It became so clear what was actually true in that circumstance. And so I think sometimes it takes us like kind of stepping out of it and, seeing it from a different perspective, and then we can kind of step back into it and give ourselves that same validation and compassion that we would extend to any other being.